Okay. I think we're good. Okay, I love these shortcuts. Hopefully that's just choosing to display weirdly for a minute. Because that's saying an ad every like 5 minutes. Not even. There better not be an ad like every 3 minutes. Let me refresh that page in hopes that that works. Please work. There shouldn't be an ad starting soon. This ad bar that it's showing me is very not nice. Let me double check on my settings. They shouldn't have changed it, right? Oh yeah, 3 minutes an hour. Okay, so why is it being so weird? Okay, it's fixed itself. Cool. Just gotta quickly... Fuck. Let me just make all these posts real quick. Just say I'm live. No, I don't want any of these menus. Okay, hold on. Bear with me, chat. The menu does it like to show up extra things in my face. Alright. Doing that and then doing this. And then hoping everything all works out because it seems smooth. I think everything's set up over there. Hi, it's working. It's working for now. I'm trying to just position these menus so that I can see them properly. Yeah, never say anything's working. It's always working for now. Hope it continues to work. Me too. Right, I think that's all I need to do in the menu, so I can close the menu. And that makes it lag for some reason. Why does having an extra menu open make it run smoothly? Fine, I'll fucking have the menu open then. Weird fucking computer. Wait, no, then the mouth doesn't move. No, it does. Okay, it doesn't look like it is in the camera. But then I can't do hand gestures. They're stuck like this. Okay, we're gonna settle with a bit of lag, despite the fact that it only lags when I close the menu. Meow, hello there. So yeah, I'm gonna be a little laggy. I don't know if it's laggy for you. It doesn't look like it is. I'm not looking here because, like, even though I have OBS open here, it's like, if my headset's lagging, then that's still gonna look jittery, so I have to look on the PC behind me. Yeah, I decided not to face the window this time like a weirdo. That looks okay? Cool. So yeah. Finally, it's working. It's really fucking frustrating. It's nice to see the wolf. Yeah, basically, I hopped in VRChat, and a nice trans flag. Yeah, I know it is, right? That's why I picked this corner in particular. But yeah, I started VRChat. It was a little bit laggy before I had done anything. So I decided, okay, I'll restart the computer, because that worked last time, right? And then, upon restarting the computer, everything wasn't working. I will howl in a second. Hold on. Like, nothing was working, right? So, I couldn't even open Steam. Like, everything was going super slow and glitchy. So then I restarted again. Everything ran slower. I still couldn't open Steam. Restarted again, same thing. It got slower, I couldn't open Steam. Eventually, Steam did open itself. And then I hopped in VRChat. Now this, for some reason, works? when the PC was going like 10 times slower. I don't understand this computer at all. Yeah, let me just grab a drink so I can do the howl redeem. Again, I haven't howled in a while, so it may be a bit scuffed. Damn, that was a pretty good one. Surprisingly, despite not howling in a while, that was pretty good. So there is your howl redeem. Yeah, I'm fine accepting a little bit of lag in the headset, but like, I don't want the stream to lag, you know? Jeez. Calm down. Okay, one slight problem is if one of my menus is too close to the camera, then when I do like this, it's going to, you know, overlap the camera. So I need to not have them too close. I also don't want them too far away either. That should be good. Yeah, if I lean left and right, the camera doesn't get overlapped, because I need to be able to see what's happening. Speaking of, let me close that menu so I don't accidentally press it. So yeah, I'm glad this is finally working. I don't really have an idea what I'm going to talk about today, but you know, it's Monday. Trying to do VR chat streams on Monday as long as it works. So yeah. I hope everyone's having a good day. Fuck. Damn, like, lag is gonna give me a headache by the end of this, I swear. So what is there? What can I talk about? I've tried this new game called Splitgate 2. I'll be streaming that on Wednesday. It's basically like Portal, but it's an FPS game. So you use your portals to get around the map and shoot other people. It's pretty cool. Hello! What is that? I have no idea what that is. I think that's a tail. Oh, it's supposed to be the tail of the dog. Right, okay. OBS squishes it a little bit, so things end up on the next line. Yes, hello. Yeah, so I've been playing this game called Splitgate 2 a little bit. I haven't played it too much because I don't want to get annoyed before the stream. It is a happy wavy dog. Waggy dog, yeah. Yeah. This game is pretty cool because I've wanted other people to take advantage of the mechanics from Portal to make more games. Because yeah, it's cool for a puzzle game. But like I've thought about what if it could be used for other things, you know, like a parkour game or I guess an FPS game like it's happening now. And finally, someone fucking did it. Oh no, my tail. Yeah, the tail's been separated on one of my chats. The other chat over here, it works. It works on the one on my left on Twitch. So yeah. Don't have much to say about Splitgate 2 right now because I haven't played it much, but I am liking it so far. Fucking hell. I'm not sure if this is more lag, less lag than we had last time, but also it could be due to the world potentially. Yeah, it is a cute nickname. Oh, jeez, I think I turned by accident. Whoopsie. Woo! Let's see, what else have I been playing? Oh yeah, I haven't been playing Valorant recently, but I did make a big fucking mistake yesterday. So, yesterday, right, I realized it was Pride Month, so I was trying to get Valorant open, get all the Pride stuff open, to, you know, redeem the codes and stuff. But I was sick for the past 2 days, right? Nice avatar, thank you. Yeah, I was sick for the past 2 days before today, right? I only just recovered. It was also only 2 days. But basically, my brain was not functioning at its highest point. And so while I'm trying to get up my Valorant stuff, right, I also pull up this other thing that I see that's like, oh, like Valorant rewards thing, and like I did a stupid and didn't think for like a second, and input my login, did the code and everything because I thought it was the Valorant website. I immediately lost my account. Thankfully, I contacted support, gave them information, told them what happened. They gave me my account back, but yeah. Whenever I stop thinking for a second, disastrous things happen. Even if it's just for a single second, right? Like, me not thinking for a second has led to me accidentally breaking the entire oven door. It now led to me losing my Valorant account. Echo Snow, thanks for the follow. I love all the emotes in chat. That's a fun thing to see. But yeah, thankfully I do have my Valorant account back. I ended up redeeming the Pride codes. But yeah, lesson learned. Don't let myself stop thinking for even just a second, because it goes disastrously wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I also might go back to playing Valorant a little bit in my spare time. I might play some later today. I don't know. We'll see. Dead by Daylight I've been meaning to get back to playing again because I want to go through the battle pass. If I don't go through the battle pass, it's not the end of the world. But there is some... Boom! Yeah, but there is some Morella Rose skins that I want in there as well. Oh, gee. Lag. So yeah, I am trying to get the Dead by Daylight battle pass as high as I can. Hopefully that's not too loud because the microphone is like here somewhere. I'm okay, guys, I swear. There might just be some little remnants of me being sick, like I said. I know, those emotes are adorable. My emotes aren't that cute because I'm still trying to get better at artwork. And then once I do, I'll obviously have better emotes. But hey, we have Pickle Toilet. I don't remember if that's a sub emote or a follower emote. But, yeah. Love DBD, playing it 7 years already. VRChat 8 years. Time just flies. It does fly. Like, I've been streaming for I think over a year and a half now. I think. Let's see. Since August, it's been how many months? What month are we in? What month is June? I don't know the number of the months. Oh, I can't even ask Alexa because I unplugged it because it was pissing me off. Sometimes, right? Like, Alexa can do this thing where you can say, hey, send an announcement, right? And it announces it to all devices. Sometimes if I don't have access to my Discord, I'll use it to contact Nat. Because sometimes Discord freaks out and doesn't work, or sometimes I don't have the computer on. So I'll use the Alexa announcements to tell Nat something. But sometimes it will stop listening to my message. And so then when I say again, Alexa, send an announcement, it records me sending it, saying, send an announcement, and it will send that as the announcement, and it's really fucking annoying because it will happen multiple times in a row. DBD is so much fun. You love the Lich? Yeah, it's Lich, not Lynch. Pretty sure Lynch is a different thing, isn't it? But yeah, the Lich, I haven't got the Lich, but yeah, I do want to get Spring Boy when he releases. Yeah. Because I don't know when Springtrap's properly releasing for Dead by Daylight, but I didn't want to do PTB because I want to be able to actually get stuff and keep stuff, and I'm pretty sure you can't in the PTB, so I would have to switch it back, and then it will be just annoying. So and also I have to keep downloading it anyway, like updates and shit. So I thought I'd wait till Springtrap's actually out, And then day 1 of Springtrap releasing in Dead by Daylight, I'm doing a Dead by Daylight stream. And the same thing goes with Secret of the Mimic. So if it comes out in the same week, that's going to be a lot of FNAF. I'm playing Secret of the Mimic day 1, the moment it releases, or the moment I've got it downloaded anyway. And then I'll keep playing it until I've beaten the story every day. And then, yeah, again, when I see that Springtrap's releasing Dead by Daylight, I'll play him. Where am I from? I'm English, innit? Yeah, please forgive the cough again. I was sick the past 2 days. I'm only just feeling better today. Surprisingly, it was only 2 days, which is crazy. I did drink a lot of orange juice, so that might have something to do with it. But yeah, like, first day, my body was just that kind of sensitive, you know when you're sick and your body just like feels like you get punched when you slightly press on it? Like, my body was like that. And then the next day I felt like absolute shit. You're from the Czech Republic? Nice. Honestly, I hear about different countries, I'm just like, where is that? Like, I'm not good at geography. But also, it's a cool spelling. It's Czech, but it's CZ. Yeah, it's I like the spelling. It's fun. It's funny for me to say I like the spelling of something, because, like, I don't like the spelling of things usually. Yeah. You do okay too? Hello. Again, this is why I love VRChat streams. People actually like show up. A stretch redeem. I will do bigger stretch. I mean, fuck knows, my body needs it. Because I sit down all day every day like a shrimp. Yeah, like, VRChat streams are amazing. Like, I just stream, and then I have an active chat that will, like, sit here and chat with me and stuff. And it's great. Any other game I stream, any time of day, any day of the week, no one shows up. I'll have, like, one person for, like, 10 minutes. And then VRChat, I get, like, a bunch of emotes and chats, and it's nice, you know? As long as I get used to the lag. And that's why I was so devastated, though, when I couldn't stream VRChat anymore. I think it was like a year I couldn't stream VRChat. How you all doing? I'm doing pretty decent, despite everything that's going on. How are you doing? You know, I kind of like this system of having, like, the 2 monitors up on each screen, like on my left and right. It's better than just having, like, the thin Twitch chat there, because, like, I don't move anywhere, so it makes more sense. Just chilling before sleep. That's a nice thing to do. I wish I could chill before I go to sleep. Instead, I just sit there worrying. Just woke up, have to realize I'm alive. I get that feeling. When I used to go to college, right? Like, I would get to the point where I was on the bus already pretty much where I needed to get to before I eventually had, like, properly woken up. It just feels like I'm sort of zombieing throughout the morning, and then I'm, like, on the bus halfway through, and I'm just like, oh, wait, I'm awake. So, yeah, like, I definitely understand that feeling. Okay, I don't usually have my amount of videos visible, but I am curious. What time is it? Can't remember how many hours ahead you are. I don't know any time zones other than, like, the UK and America, because I know, like, a lot of YouTubers I watch are American. Most YouTubers I see are American, to be honest. 2 people. I'm pretty sure there's, like, 3 people in chat, so I don't know why it says 2 people. Maybe it doesn't count mods? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it does count mods. I honestly just think Twitch never knows how many people are here. 9:57 p.m. Not too late. I'm gonna hide that again, just so I don't get sad later if people leave. Jeez. I'm gonna have to get myself a drink later, aren't I? I really miss my big cup that I had. I had this like tall cup with a straw, and it's like it lasted me ages if I wasn't playing a game. You know, like, but now I have to use a measly little glass. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. But yeah. Same. Nice. Oh, we're an hour behind. Are we? Is it 8 or 9? What? I can't go and ask Alexa again. It's unplugged. Is it like 9 o'clock already? UK and Czech Republic is just an hour? Right. I guess it must be 9 then. Jeez, it was like 7:30 last I checked. You live in the future. You can tell us who wins things so we can bet on them and win. Okay, for a second I just like read that username as Shirokuma, but it's not. Austria, nice. I don't know where Austria is either. Also, if I say nice, like, if you do live in a shit country and I say nice to it, please just know it's because I am completely oblivious about a lot of the world. Because, like, I honestly, like, I only know about shit that's going on in some countries. Can't keep track of all of them. Next to Germany. Okay. I think I know where Germany is. I actually don't know if I do. The first person you've met from Australia. Interesting. That's the thing about the internet. You'll meet people from all over, you know? Like, doesn't matter what time zone you're in. You will just meet people from across the world. Mostly you meet Germans? Okay. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else I can talk about right now. I don't know. Always wanted to go to Austria? I don't know anything about it. I kind of feel bad when, like, people tell me they're from somewhere and I have no idea what it's like. You know? Like, most of the places I explore are in VRChat. And, like, this world, you know, it was my homeworld for ages. Then I changed my homeworld to, like, Sensory Loft, and now my homeworld's this again. Because it just feels so me. You know, like, look up here. We've got a bi flag going all the way around the place. Up here, we got a trans flag. There are games that you can play. Right in front of me, right below the camera, is Buckshot Roulette. There's Skee Ball. There's a fucking Viva Pinata over there. There's a Fudge Hog. It is fine. Okay. You gonna have fun with VR? Oh, I am. I am having fun with VR. Like, when it works, it's great. Well, that's cool. Yeah, this world is incredible. Like, if you haven't checked it out, it's called Bandits Barcade. It's Quest compatible. It's a great world. And, like, they have, like, a massive playlist of songs. Obviously, I'm not playing those for obvious reasons. My flag is mine. Yeah! It's all the way around the wall. It's even got that, like, classic arcade-type floor, which you can kind of see over here. Yeah. Yeah, genuinely, it's got playable games. They've got a Suika game over there. They've got a Flappy Bird game. I think they've actually recently added Tetris somewhere. I don't remember where they've added Tetris. I think it might be over there somewhere. Not sure, honestly. They've got axe throwing over there. Like, this world is great. They've got air hockey. somehow I missed that. We've got basketball hoops over there. Genuinely don't remember where Tetris was, but I'm sure they did add it. It might be over there. Oh yeah, they've got a shooting range in here as well. So many working games. That might be why I'm lagging a bit. Like, the PC version of this world might be a little bit more intense than the Quest world. So even though it's like, this PC might not actually be that much better than a Quest, honestly. It is though. I can run Complex 7 with like a little bit of lag, I think. I can run the Great Plateau. That's a great world. I can run Hare's Diner, and all those are PC-only worlds. It's hard to focus. Room if you're standing there. Huh? Hard to focus the room. What? I'm confused. Is she playing VRChat too? No, she's not. She sadly. Otherwise, she would be right here with me. Yeah, it's also just got tons of references. Like, there's Fox from Star Fox, there's Snake from Solid Snake. There's Fable on the TV there. There's like tons of stuff. I know you can't see it, but I don't feel like walking around doing a whole tour and then trying to set my camera up in the same place, especially when I'm lagging, because that's just gonna be an absolute nightmare, you know? One thing I wish worked, I wish like the hand tracking worked when I'm plugged into PC, but I don't know how to get it to do it. Like, there might have been a setting somewhere, because it works on when I'm just using Quest, like alone, but it doesn't work when I'm plugged into the PC. I don't understand it. Because I should be able to just do this, and it should activate hand tracking, but it doesn't. You know what I should do? I should do another VRChat stream in the Pizzaplex Atrium, because I did a couple of VRChat streams there before, you know, my headset stopped working initially. Invite you? Wait, are you in VRChat? You are in VRChat. Nice. You're sneaky. You are sneaky. I didn't know you were going to be joining. That's cool. My friend's having the same problem with hand tracking. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I don't know what it is that isn't making it work. It's either a setting that I haven't activated on PC, or maybe it just doesn't like being plugged in. Surprise, motherfucker. I think that's like below. You can actually like play that sound effect, I think. Or I haven't added it. I don't know. There's a lot of sound effects down there. Oh wow, I only get one snooze. That sucks. Snooze that ad. Like, what I'm gonna do is when the ad starts playing, I'm just gonna... There's that one, yeah. That's not the surprise motherfucker, that's a different sound effect. But I might not have it down there. We can meet maybe on Sunday, yeah. But yeah, when the ad plays, I'm just gonna like take that as an opportunity to like sit down. I'm sorry it's 3 minutes, but it's to stop pre-roll ads on the stream. Oh, hello. You have to come around here behind. Maybe pick a bigger avatar. That one's tiny. I think she's just gonna stand there in the background. Such a gooba. Not to be confused with the Guna. It's very different. I'm gonna have a drink. Talking a lot makes my throat water a lot, which tells me, hey, I need a drink. Cute, yeah, it's a cute avatar. Hello. Shit. Okay, switch avatar, please. That's so fucking laggy. Jeez. It makes me lag more. Pick a simple avatar. Simple one. Jeez. So fucking laggy. Let's see if Doodle wants to join, but I don't think he's online. No, he's not. Let's see what she turns into. Hopefully something less laggy. We'll see. Okay. Shit. Less laggy, and I almost fucking crash. Okay, I don't know where she went. Where'd she go? Oh, behind my screen. I can't see you over there. I've got OBS open. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you being here is actually gonna work, because I think I'm lagging more just from whatever avatar you wear. But thank you for trying to join. Oh, fuck. Okay, please leave. Please leave. Please leave. Don't cry. I'm lagging. I'm lagging so much. Do you see this? Fucking... Please. Okay, thanks. I'm trying not to lag here. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm running a little smoother now. So we... Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay, well, I was. So yeah, maybe I won't get a Doodle on stream at some point then. Because if I'm gonna lag with one person here, then it might not be a good idea. Lagging equals skill issue. Listen, right. My luck with computers is terrible. Like, absolutely terrible luck. Like I said earlier, right? I restarted this computer because VRChat was a bit laggy, and then all of a sudden, everything was going 10 times as slow. Oh my god, my luck is so shit. Yeah, I know. My luck is terrible. Like, so bad. I'm trying to think, have I played anything else recently? I feel like I've mostly been watching stuff. Like, I've been watching Clarkson's Farm, I've been watching Doctor Who. Oh yeah, the Doctor Who finale. I'm not gonna do spoilers, but like, the ending, crazy. And like, I was unfortunately spoiled. Someone spoiled it on YouTube. Really annoying, but I'm excited to see what they do. Except it's tomorrow because he needs sleep. But that's fair. Sleep is nice. Okay, I'm gonna try and keep an eye on the ad timer up there so that I can know when I'm sitting down to rest. Just make sure the chair is in place for me to sit. And also, that 3 minutes will give me time to think about what to talk about next. It's actually quite beneficial. Nice to meet a new person. It is nice to meet new people. That's why I like VRChat. Although I don't meet new people much anymore. I have made one friend in the past however long I've been playing VRChat. genuinely don't know what to talk about. Again, I'm still getting reused to the VR chat streams because, like, I used to just be able to talk for hours and hours. Like, I think my longest VR chat stream was like 8 hours long because, like, people came in and just kept chatting with me, and we lasted 8 hours because of that. Because, like, my usual goal is if I have a lot of, like, chatters, I will keep streaming for longer than what I intend. But then when it dies down, I'll end stream. This is just one on that exact name. Is Dragon Lady, I guess. Nice. Dragons are cool. I like dragons. My body is already unhappy. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-da. You did dash instead of underscore. So many people do that. Kind of funny, kind of sad. An ad's gonna be starting soon, so you know. After the ad break, I will get to have know something to talk about, hopefully, rather than standing here awkwardly. Your persona's a fox, nice. Mine's a wolf. Usually she would be in this bottom corner, but she's not today because VR chat. Yeah, it's starting soon. Wow. Oh, does it do the countdown and then stay starting soon? Because, like, of the delay. So when it says ad starting soon, that means anything I say people won't hear. Is that what that is? No, because I'm sure the delay isn't this long. You have a fox lady, but you test a dragon. Nice. I feel like foxes and dragons could be best friends. Despite the fact that dragons would probably try eating foxes or anything of a similar size. But they could be friends. Okay, ad starting. I don't know why it does that. It's like ad starting soon for like a whole minute or so. I get to rest my feet. Hello everyone on YouTube. If there's anyone on YouTube, surprisingly there's quite a bit of people on YouTube. You have this cute Arctic fox avatar. You do. I know you can't hear me, but yes, it is adorable. I've seen it. Actually, it was in one of the previous streams. Oh, you can hear me. Oh, because you're a mod, I guess? So that makes sense. I guess? I don't know. VR chat photos. Ooh. It says ad in progress, so people shouldn't be able to hear me. I don't know. That's weird. Maybe mods can still hear the stream? Just don't get adverts because I had to restart Twitch, maybe? I have no clue. Twitch is weird. Also can hear you when ads are playing. Right, yeah, okay, that's probably a mod feature. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, surprising amount of people watch some of my VR chat VODs. You know, like, I think my most popular VR chat VOD is over 100 views, which is crazy. Twitch is bitch. It can be. I don't know if Twitch will appreciate me saying that on Twitch. I was reading a chat message. Don't be upset at me, Twitch. Anything can be a bitch, really. Oh, my jaw hurts. That probably means I need to tighten my headset a bit. because it means I'm trying to use my cheeks to lift the headset. Why are VR chat headsets so uncomfortable? Actually, that's not true. It's just this one that's uncomfortable. The Quest 2. The fucking Rift S was actually really comfortable. 4, 3, 2, 1. And my audience should be back now. Hello. Hello. Okay, you should all be back from ads. That gives me my rest. You need to go to sleep now? Okay, have a good sleep. Sleep is very nice. I hope it's a comfortable sleep. Rar. Oh yeah, I forgot to think about something to talk about on stream. Oh, this headset's so uncomfortable. I miss my Rift S. Gonna echo. Just double checking, making sure I can read. Right. Oh my god, I hate how uncomfy this headset is. So yeah, in terms of watching Doctor Who, right? So not only have I been watching like the new Doctor Who stuff that comes out, I've also been watching like the old Doctor Who. You know, like the first Doctor to the 8th Doctor. So far, I've barely made it past the second story. I'm still in the second story. I think I'm on episode 10, I think. I think I'm on episode 10. It's like the first appearance of the Daleks. So yeah, it's interesting to see how they start. 10? Okay, yeah. See, she keeps track, so I don't have to. You know. But yeah, like, honestly, old Doctor Who, at least in the very beginning, is so slow. Like, the first 4 or 5 episodes is just a bunch of cavemen standing around being like, who will make fire? Whomever make fire is chief. Keep the prisoners. Who make fire? you're my Kara, so I don't have to. Yeah, exactly. 12th Doctor quote. I'm his Kara. Yeah, she cares, so I don't have to. He like just fully turns that around. It's funny. But yeah, like I knew the old Doctor Who's weren't going to be as interesting as the new ones, but I didn't expect them to be so damn slow. Like each episode was like 24 minutes, right? And multiple episodes were literally just the cavemen standing around the entire episode saying who will make fire over and over again. There was at least 2 or 3 episodes of that. And then 1 or 2 episodes of like them actually, you know, having some action where they like get captured and then they escape and then they help one that's injured. At least this is like second part, the Dalek story, is a bit more interesting. You know? Although they are also sat in like a prison cell for like half the episodes. So also I kind of want to call the whole I kind of want to call the whole caveman story like 1 episode, but it's technically 4 or 5. I forget how many. And then it's the same with the Dalek section. It's like it feels like 1 episode, but it's very long and split up. So it's a very weird system of doing episodes. Ooh, my body doesn't like me. Yeah, I've also started listening to The Diary of a Song. I don't know if I mentioned that. I've still only listened to the first one, but I've got some more lined up to listen to. Oh, lag. One of the audios I really want to listen to is the ones with the Fugitive Doctor, because the Fugitive Doctor is one of my favorite out of all the Doctors. So I want more content of her. Like, I read Origins, which was incredible. If you haven't read Doctor Who Origins, it's great. Definitely read it. I also recently read Supremacy of the Cybermen, and I've read what was the other one? The Lost Dimension. The Lost Dimension was, oh geez, that was confusing. The Lost Dimension was really annoying to like find properly because basically the Lost Dimension is a storyline, but each issue is in like a different comic set. So one of like issue like I think 3 or 4 of the Lost Dimension was the 10th Doctor Year 3, issue like 8, 9, or 10 or something like that. And it was like, and then the next one was the 11th Doctor Year 3, issue something. And it was all split up amongst different things, Like, maybe I would have found it easier if I had just searched, the Lost Dimension issue 3. But what I was getting was just, the beginning and the end, which was Alpha and Omega. And that's all it was showing me. But yeah. I really liked the I really like the Lost Dimension. We finally get to see what Jenny's been up to. If anyone has seen the episode where the Doctor gets a daughter, not the new one where it turns out that it was actually some other guy's daughter. I mean that's the newest episode. I fucking just spoiled it. I am sorry if I spoiled that, but honestly, I was spoiled for worse. And it's not an excuse, but it was a mistake. You've got a new home? Nice. But yeah, the episode where the 10th Doctor gets a daughter, I say gets because, like, has a daughter, I feel like is resigned for, like, if people have a child in the normal way. This was more like the Doctor's DNA was taken and then used to make a child. It's a bit odd. But yeah, and her name is Jenny, right? And at the end of the episode, I'm pretty sure she just flies off into space and we never hear from her again. But the Lost Dimension actually lets us know what she's been up to. So that was fun. I will say, she cannot land a ship. I can't remember if there was a reason why she crashed or... Anyway. Great comic, though. You get to see all the Doctors uniting in the Lost Dimension. Very fun. I feel like I also read an 8th Doctor comic somewhat recently. I don't remember if it was just an 8th Doctor comic. I think it was. But I don't remember if it was part of something else. I think it was just the 8th Doctor comic. Or at least a 8th Doctor comic. Where the 8th Doctor gets a companion. And she has a really cool design. I love her like outfit and everything. It's not something I would wear, but it really suits her and I love it. I can't remember her name. It's a fun adventure. Hold on. Okay. So yeah, I've been consuming a lot of Doctor Who media. Like the audios, the old episodes, the new episodes, the comics. Lots of Doctor Who media. And like, at this point, there's been so many plot holes and inconsistencies and unexplained paradoxes that I sort of tried to stop giving a shit about the story as much and just focus more on the adventures. It's similar with FNAF. Like, it feels like Steel Wool is rewriting the entire history of FNAF, and so I don't like that, but I'm trying to separate the lore and the games from my head, because I used to love the FNAF lore. It was so fun to theorize about, and I loved watching Theory Thursdays from Dorco, Baz, Ryan, and Raz. but like, but you know, they stopped doing that eventually, and in obviously more recent days, the theories that people have come up with are just wild. You know, Steelwool's done not a good job of explaining some things, which has caused, you know, a whole divide in the fucking fandom, which obviously that happens anyway. But like, people saying that Glitch Trap and Burn Trap are the Mimic, when to me that seems more like a retcon because everyone got upset at Afton returning, you know? So like, well, if they go with the story of Glitch Trap and Burn Trap being the Mimic, then yes, it will feel like a retcon. Because it more seems like what they were trying to do were, okay, they brought back Afton as Glitch Trap and then Burn Trap, right? People got upset at Afton returning constantly. So then they make endings canon to... Like, they make canon endings to get rid of Burn Trap and Glitch Trap to make way for the Mimic. But if they now turn around and basically show us that, yes, Glitch Trap and Burn Trap are the Mimic, then it's just going to feel like a fucking retcon. Because, like, it was never hinted at anywhere. Like, at all. You know? Up until, you know, later on, if they decide to go with that. And so because of all this, like, crazy stuff about the whole Mimic, it's maybe not like the Mimic as much. I would have been fine with them removing Afton and getting the Mimic in. But all the fan theories of people saying that, oh, Afton was the Mimic the whole time, it's just frustrated me at this point, so I don't like the Mimic as much. But then also on top of that, Steel will, like I said, it feels like they're rewriting all of FNAF. Because, you know, this whole time we've thought, okay, so Afton and Henry started Fazbear Entertainment together, they made all these animatronics, made these locations, and then eventually, you know, Afton dies and then gets reincarnated, not reincarnated, killed but possesses his own body. And then Henry, like, sort of backs out of the whole thing before coming back and ending everything. Which also, you know, leads Fazbear Entertainment to become its own company and, you know, make terrible decisions and, you know, expand to the point of the Pizzaplex. And, you know, that was all great. But now it seems like what Steelwool is doing is trying to go back and say, no, Fazbear Entertainment was already a massive company, and Edwin was the one making these animatronics. It's like, well, what's the point in Henry? It feels like they're basically just writing Henry out of the existing story. So, I don't like that. So I'm kind of trying to separate the, like, Steelwool games from the Scott games and be like, okay, these are two different parts. Like, I know they're not, obviously. It's the same story. But in my mind, I'm just trying to separate it so I can still enjoy it. Yeah. Going back to Doctor Who, I could point, like, plot holes and stuff in Doctor Who all day, right? Like, I could literally be sat here all day explaining to you how many plot holes and inconsistencies and just unexplained paradoxes that are. But I'm not going to do that, because I'll just get fired up and annoyed. She's not joking. No, yeah, I'm not joking. I could. There's so much that's wrong in the show of Doctor Who, especially once we get to, like, the 13th Doctor. That's when shit hits the fan. But there's also problems before that as well. You know, it's like, oh, the 9th Doctor, a paradox creates these creatures that come and feed on the paradox. The 11th Doctor, a paradox automatically fixes itself. Those are two different solutions to the same problem. Or two different situations, two different outcomes of the same thing, right? That doesn't make sense. There was no explanation as why it's different. And that's just an example. And then we're not even going to get started on the flux. That was just unresolved, and then they just basically undid it without telling us. No explanation for how that was undone. On the other hand, though, the comics have so much consistency. Like, the only time the show has a, you know, consistency in it is when they have a running joke. Like Mavity, right? They go back and, you know, see the guy who discovers gravity, and they say, "Hey, I love your work on gravity," or whatever. And then he's just like, "What did they say? Mavity? I like that word." And so he calls it Mavity instead of gravity. And then, you know, all the characters from then on start calling it Mavity. That's the most consistent thing in Doctor Who at the minute. As well as, you know, just references. Like timey-wimey. But at this point, timey-wimey is just an excuse for, you know, problems and paradoxes that they can't be bothered to explain. When the 10th Doctor was using timey-wimey, it was because he didn't know how to simplify an actual thing for... Like there was a good explanation to how the 10th Doctor, right, was... if you don't know, I think it was first used in Blink, where the Doctor has a pre-recorded video from the past that these people are responding to in real time. And there's an extra explanation to how he's doing that, you know? He flew forward in time after this, or like, he gave himself the, like, finished script of, like, who says what, right? And he brings that back in time with him, or gets given it by his future self, or whatever. Point is, he's reading what the conversation they've had in the future. That makes a bit more sense, right? Sort of. It still also doesn't, because it creates a loop. But instead of him explaining that because he doesn't know how to simplify it, because these are people that might not understand time travel, he just says timey-wimey, right? And it's more modern Doctor Who, like more modern than that, they just use timey-wimey and they can't be bothered to think of an explanation. Like, they make a mistake in the show, and they just explain it, oh, timey-wimey. Basically just means, oh, the writers wanted to, so they did. Even if it doesn't make sense. But as I was trying to say, though, the comics, they have more consistency. Just already, in one of the comics I read, right? Actually, in The Lost Dimension, like, spoiler alert if you haven't read The Lost Dimension, but essentially, the universe gets eaten by a TARDIS, right? And they don't leave that unresolved like the Flux. With the Flux, that was just captured in the show, right? It was captured. They didn't bother explaining how they undid all of its destruction. Like, they just continued on with everything. When theoretically, pretty much every planet should be destroyed. On the other hand, in the comics, when the, you know, TARDIS, eats the universe, once they resolve that issue, the TARDIS basically, like, regurgitates the entire universe back to how it was. So that explains how that happened. So, like, you know, the comics explain things and end things better than the show does. And, like, I know the show does explain things a lot and resolve things a lot. I'm just saying they're getting more sloppy with it and not everything's getting resolved. Yeah, which is kind of the problem Marvel has. Marvel has a big issue with not resolving things. They have so many, like, after credit scenes where what they've, like, displayed just has not happened. Nothing's happened with it yet, you know? Like, Doctor Strange. He got that third eye, didn't he? Has that ever been explained yet? I don't think so. I don't think we've had a resolution from that yet. Or White Vision. Where is he? Like, he was, you know, he just flew off and we've never heard from him since. Yeah, stuff like that. Also, another situation of Doctor Who being consistent in the comics, though. Oh, big lag. In one of the comics I was reading, I don't remember what. There is a new show coming out about White Vision. Is there? Okay. Well, I hadn't heard about that. It's the last show for the Wanda trilogy. Oh yeah, actually, maybe I did hear about that. But yeah, in Doctor Who, right? One of the things that was consistent, it might have actually been in The Lost Dimension, But the 11th Doctor mentions, oh, hey, this fluid link is empty. We need to go find Mercury, right? As I was watching the old Doctor Who show, right? It literally, in the start of the Dalek section I've started watching, I've told you how early I am. I'm like episode 10 is the next episode to watch. But yeah, in that Dalek story, the Doctor begins by lying, saying, oh, the fluid link's out of Mercury. We need to go get some. I know for a fact, if that was in the show, like the new show, they would completely forget about the fluid links, so they would either never mention it, or even if they did mention the fluid links as a reference, they would probably fuck it up and say it uses some other metal. And like, I know that's just a, you know, me saying I think this would happen, but like, I'm basing that off of the shit that they're doing, you know, how inconsistent it is, or like paradoxes that aren't explained, you know. You told me about it because you were excited. Also, Doctor Strange that I was never explained. Yeah, I said that. But yeah, so like, I hate inconsistency in shows, and some of the, like, in just franchises. And honestly, these big franchises that I love are starting to have so many inconsistencies or things that aren't explained. With FNAF, I know things aren't going to be explained, but you know. You did. I'm agreeing. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was never explained. Yeah. Oh, my body isn't happy standing here. Yeah, I hate when things are unexplained, or they don't make sense, or they're inconsistent, have a plot hole. And the bigger a franchise gets, the more likely that is to happen, which is why I think once a franchise reaches a certain size of timeline, there needs to be a team of dedicated lore keepers hired by whoever's running the whole thing, you know, and their whole job is to keep track of all the lore of the story, right? So in the case of Doctor Who, it would be like, okay, fluid links use mercury, right? That would be a piece of lore. And then if anyone needs to reference that in the future, like, each script gets looked over by the lore keepers, and they compare bits of information, right? Like, oh, they've used fluid links. We have information on fluid links. It uses mercury. They're trying to use aluminium? No, it uses mercury. You know? And then they can tell the writers they can rewrite it, and stuff like that. And, like, FNAF and Doctor Who both need a team of lore keepers. Because at this point, it's just messy. Like, FNAF's main example of something that doesn't make sense is Elizabeth's death makes no sense to place anywhere. There's just no good place to put it. You know? Like, there's so much conflicting information in FNAF. Okay, I think I'm gonna sit down for a little bit, but I'm gonna make it so my avatar's still standing. There we go. Although my Twitch chats are further away. Oh, this one I can still see. This one's close enough. And now I can see up there if it's like changed. So yeah. Exhausted. I've only been alive for an hour. I also feel like I'm lagging less, but that might just be me imagining things. Like I said last time I streamed VR chat, it could just be that my head's getting used to it. You know, that could happen. How my head. So in order to keep this headset in place, I have to have it quite tight. But then if I have it too tight, it hurts my head. You know? I don't like that. Yeah, so like I said, though, I'm trying to separate the bits I don't like about a franchise from the bits I do like. Because then it lets me enjoy things again. Because things really go wrong enough in my life for me to start hating franchises that I already liked, you know? Oh. What the? Oh my god. I found a car. Is it remote control? I can sit in it. Like, it's in the back. I don't know if it's a remote control car, but I can sit in it. I did not know that was there. And I don't know why I just threw it. Yeah, I actually really like reading Doctor Who comics. Because like I said, they have more consistency than the show. And they actually wrap things up, as far as I've seen. Although, I will say, one of the annoying things about it is trying to read Doctor Who comics in order is the worst in some cases. Like, reading comics in order in general is so difficult in general. Especially for Marvel or DC, right? So, like, with Marvel and DC comics, right, they're quite big. Oh, also, I'd recommend not just, like, sharing your Discord with people, because people take advantage of that and try and scam you. So be careful. What was I saying? Actually, hold on. Let me... Just gonna delete the message just to protect you from anyone trying to scam you. Because, yeah, I don't want that happening. That's why I had to add so many protections to my Discord server. What was I saying? I've forgotten now. Oh yeah, Marvel and DC comics already a pain in the ass to read in order. Because what will happen is you'll want to read a story, right? For example, I wanted to read... I think it was called Suicide Squad Absolute Power or something. No, Suicide Squad Dream Team is what it was called, right? And basically, I wanted to read it because it has Dreamer in it. But... Yeah, thank God you can read deleted messages. Yeah, I know you can. That's why I was okay deleting it. I just don't want them getting, like, sent scam messages, you know? Because Discord is infested with it. But yeah, so basically, I wanted to read Dream Team, which is the DC comic with Dreamer in it. But when I went to read Dream Team, there was a whole series of events that had happened beforehand. And it was like, oh, Dream Team culminates the story of, like, this story, this story, this story, and this story, or something like that, right? And so basically it's saying, hey, in order to understand everything that's happening here, you need to go read all these comics. But I just know some of those comics are going to have, like, 60 issues. And even if they don't, they're going to have a story that takes place before it, you know? Because, you know, that entire universe is going to have a full history. Like, think of if you wanted to get into the MCU now, right? That is extremely daunting because of how many movies and shows there are. If you wanted to watch the entire history, like, you can't just jump in at Endgame. You have to watch, like, all the movies before Endgame to understand why Endgame is happening. And then if you want to watch, like, the Spider-Man movies after Endgame, right? Well, the Spider-Man movie after Endgame. No Way Home, wasn't it? You have to, like, in order to understand why Tony Stark is dead, you have to then watch Endgame. Which means you need to watch all of the backlog of Marvel history. And so it just gets ridiculous if you want to know the whole story. And with Doctor Who, that's even more confusing. Because the Doctor Who time travels. You know? So if you want to read the story in order, right? First off, you would never get to the 15th Doctor or the 16th Doctor because, like, there is so much happening beforehand. You know, you've got the entire old show, the entire second show, you've got all the comics, you've got all the audios, just to, like, know everything that's happened. But if you just wanted to read, like, a particular story order, sometimes it can be a pain. Like the Lost Dimension, like I said, the issues were split up in a bunch of different stories, which obviously makes you want to read all those other stories as well. But then also, let's say, that's for Empire of the Wolf, right? That's another comic I've read. It's the 8th Doctor and the 11th Doctor that are the main characters in that one. So if I did want to read it in chronological order, I would technically have to read that one twice. Or I could just place it where the 11th Doctor is, since 8th Doctor wouldn't remember it, right? And that would still work. But then there's other situations, like, even in the show, right? The Doctor's story and River's story are, like, reversed. You know, so every time the Doctor meets River in his own timeline, she's further back in her timeline. Which is... yeah, so if you want to follow the story of each of the characters, it would require you to read the stories multiple times because the Doctor time travels. So that can be like an issue. Yes, I'm talking about River. Or, you know, like, another thing is you sometimes don't know what order of events happen, you know? Like, especially because the names of each story doesn't directly say this is the next story, and you have to like look it up online and stuff. Like I read I read one I think called With a Little Help from Your Friends or something, which was the 13th Doctor and the 10th Doctor. Well, the 10th Doctor, yeah, it was the 13th Doctor and the 10th Doctor. And at the end of that comic, right, it was clear there were more. I couldn't find, you know, the next issue of this comic story. Eventually, I found out it had a different name, so then I went out and found it, right? And so it was like another story, like name is what continued that story. And then I found out, okay, there's another comic after that, and that's Empire of the Wolf. Hold on a second, I already read Empire of the Wolf. And when I had read Empire of the Wolf before all of this, I didn't understand why Rose was there. Because, you know, the 8th Doctor and it's the 11th Doctor. You know, neither of them traveled with Rose. So, like, why the hell is Rose on this random-ass planet? And then after reading the previous two comics that I just mentioned, I then understood why. But it was not clear that, hey, these three comics all go in order. And that's why it was confusing, because I read it out of order, and then couldn't find the next comic because of the different naming system. So yeah, if you want to read a Doctor Who comic, do some research on it, find out if there's a story that comes before it, you know, speak to people who've read them. Or find a reading order online, like I did. There was one on Reddit I found, and that helped me realize an order to the comics I was reading, which is how I actually knew to read those three comics in that order, which was already too late at that point. So yeah, Doctor Who comics are great, really annoying to read in order. Which it is kind of fitting for Doctor Who, because, you know, he time travels. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny to read it out of order, because you kind of get an experience of what it's like to know the Doctor, but not travel with him. Because you're like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And then you read the next comic, and it's like, oh, that's why that was like that, you know? Whew. Yeah, again, I can ramble on about Doctor Who for a long time. Which is funny, because I've only actually been interested in Doctor Who in maybe a bit over a year? When did I start watching it? I don't remember. I started watching it at the 9th Doctor, but it wasn't when the 9th Doctor was new. It was like when the 12th or 13th Doctor? No, the 13th. It was when the 13th Doctor was finishing, I think. 4 years? No, it's not 4 years. Was it? Oh, no, yeah, it was. Okay, I forgot how long we'd been watching it. No, yeah, okay. So, I guess that makes sense then. So in like 4 years, I've gained a massive knowledge of Doctor Who. Because I've watched the 9th Doctor to the now 16th Doctor. Yes, we started watching, then you took a break and started again. Yeah, that explains it. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I've seen the 9th Doctor to the 16th Doctor, and I'm starting to watch the 1st Doctor. And then the comics, I don't specifically read like, oh, the 1st Doctor's comics, then the 2nd Doctor's comic. I'm just reading whatever comic looks interesting. Because that's just a better way of doing things, in my opinion. Because otherwise, if you want to find the order of the Doctor Who comics, it's going to be such a pain, and then some of those will probably be impossibly difficult to find, because Doctor Who's been going around for a long time. I don't know how long the comics have been going, but surely a long time as well. And I'm also interested to see, like, are we going to get any comics of the 16th Doctor? You know? I mean, I assume so, because every Doctor gets comics, but I'm not sure if we've got comics of the 14th Doctor. And some people are thinking 16 might be a temporary one, like 14, which would suck if so, because at that point they're just, buffing up the numbers of how many Doctors there are for no damn reason. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what comics will release. Speaking of comics, one thing I really hate is that comics release monthly. 14 and 10 having different comics would be too complicated. No, it wouldn't. He didn't live long enough. Yeah, I know, but still, we don't know how many adventures. There might have been adventures he went on in between episodes, you know? I know he didn't stay long, but yeah. Yeah, speaking of comics, right? I hate how comics release monthly. It makes it so annoying. Because if I am looking at a new release, right? Like TVA or Secret Six, if I read the new comic, right? The new issue, it's a month before I can read the next one. Like Secret Six, right? Like, I think I have 3 issues currently, waiting on issue 4. But by the time issue 4 comes out, I'm not going to have any fucking clue what happened in issue 3. Because, like, with a show, that releases weekly, right? And even then, it's sometimes hard to remember what happened last week. But a show can have, like, a little refresher. Be like, oh, here's what happened last time. And that's useful. But a comic, you're waiting an entire month. Like, it's honestly just, if you want to collect comics, it's better to wait until the entire comic series is released. See if they release it as a volume, so that you can have it all in one. And then, I mean, if you actually want to, like, collect the different covers, then obviously you can still order them each issue individually. But just wait till it's done releasing, and then get them all and then read them. Because otherwise it's just, you don't remember what happens. Also, I found a trumpet. Ow. Can I grab that from here? I mean, I grabbed from further, so surely. No, it's fine. Yeah, so I do like comics, but they are annoying. Both because of the trying to figure out the order to read them in, and then having to read like a million before you get to the story you want, and also because of the monthly releases. Don't hurt yourself. I didn't mean to. I hit the desk. I forgot how close I was. That was me. In case you couldn't tell. Honestly, I don't even know how I'd recommend other people to get into comics. Like, if I did, I would definitely give them heaps of advice on getting into comics, because it is daunting. Bad girl? I'm not a bad girl. I was tapping to let you know the table's here. Yeah. What would my advice be for people trying to get into comics? I think first off would be do your research. Second would be understand you are not going to know the whole story unless you spend a shit ton of time looking for every story that precedes it. Don't start. Excuse me. Yeah. Be prepared to either understand you're not going to know the whole story or read like 5,000 comics to understand the story. Because the thing is, it branches out, right? Like one story, like um, like Dream Team, branches out into many different stories, and those stories can all branch out as well. It's like you know what I'm saying? Don't start comics. Oh, do start comics. They're fun to read. They are nice. Just yeah. I think another piece of advice would also be don't just stick to Marvel and DC. There are other good comics out there. Some that I've enjoyed have been Lady Mechanica. I Hate Fairyland. Monstrous is a pretty good one. Doctor Who comics as well. They're fun. Actually, fun fact: if you have like a favorite show that feels like it could have a comic, it will have a comic. Adventure Time has comics. Regular Show, I think, has comics. I'm pretty sure The Amazing World of Gumball has comics. Joking. Right. They're great to read until your wife sends you 20,000 to read and overwhelms you. Excuse me, you're the one that looked through my list. She looked through my list of comics that I want to read, right? And she made her own little list so that she can read them. But there's also a lot in there. I've also recommended to her, though, one thing that would be cool is if she reads a comic that I'm reading, we can talk about it. And then, like, I will have finished the comic, and then she will slowly read the comic over the next, like, month or so. And then I've forgotten what happened in the comic, and I've moved on to, like, 2 others. And who encouraged you to do that? I did, but I didn't realize you'd be very slow at it. She's quite slow at reading comics. And you're busy. I know you're busy. But there's always time for comics. There's so often when you just had that bored. Yeah. What other advice would I give? I'm not sure what the rest of my advice would be, but I know I would have a lot more. Because yeah, like comics are daunting. They don't seem it, but they are. It's kind of the opposite of D&D, really. And I read all the comics and overwhelm you with my knowledge. Do it, I dare you. I'm actually doing really well at reading comics. Damn, I was just thinking something, and I forgot. Oh yeah, reading comics is like the opposite of D&D, right? D&D looks daunting, but then you get into it and you realize, like, oh, people just sort of make up the rules, basically. Like, once you actually get into D&D, despite it being daunting because of all these rules and everything, you actually realize, yeah, most people don't care about the rules, and they just sort of, like, work together to make a story, and that's all they're doing. Am I challenging you? I am challenging you. Whereas comics is like the opposite, where it doesn't look daunting. It's like, okay, I'll just pick up this story, and start reading it. And then you realize, oh shit, there's like 1,000 comics preceding it. And there's time travel involved, so, I gotta find the right order. And then you gotta do the voice. Oh, I can't do a Shaggy voice. Are you challenging me? I can't do Shaggy. But that's how he says it. Great movie. Something else I find interesting about the FNAF and Dead by Daylight collab, right? Is fuck that was loud. something I find interesting, right, is the Yellow Rabbit skin. Obviously, it has Matthew Lillard's voice, which is really cool. But for some reason, he's doing it really goofy, and I feel like that's not particularly necessary. Like, one of his little lines is, "Ready or not, here I come." And it just sounds a bit goofy, you know? Like, and then you hear him in the movie, and it's like, "You are rotten, pathetic little beasts." And that, I love that voice. That's way better. He should do that voice. Like, he should do that, you know? Like, the more angry, unhinged murderer, rather than... Like, I know, obviously, Afton would have a different voice he uses, like, if he's performing. But he shouldn't be using that when chasing victims, right? Surely. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm not a fan of. But again, I have a lot of little nitpicks about the FNAF Dead by Daylight collab. But again, this is another thing I'm trying to separate in my mind. I'm trying to just accept that it's not going to be perfect and it was overhyped. Because I know if I will be able to enjoy it still, I'm going to have so much fun looking around the pizzeria. I'm going to have fun using Springtrap's abilities, you know, but there's a lot I would change with it. It's a lot of little things, but there's things I would change. Like, I don't think they did the Yellow Rabbit skin justice in both visual design or the voice. Again, love that they brought Matthew Lillard in for it, but why is he doing that goofy ass voice? Yeah. It's been an hour and a half of me talking about FNAF, comics, and Doctor Who, and a bit about Marvel and DC. I hope everyone's enjoying. Even sitting here, I'm exhausted. My body doesn't like me. Just like resting my mouth for a second in my throat is like I've been talking for ages. Good to watch you and hear your voice. What's not to enjoy? My drink's all the way over there. I can't be bothered to grab it. There's the lean on the desk. What's up, chat? So what's up? Oh yeah, even Cyberpunk 2077 has comics. I read one ages ago now called Trauma Team. That's a really good one. Trauma Team has like a really interesting moral dilemma about Trauma Team from Cyberpunk. Yeah, it's really good. I recommend that one. I actually have a list of the comics I've read. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna... No, yeah. No. Let me... I have a list. Oh, that's gonna do it like that? Okay. I've read. What comics have I read? Anything interesting? Alters is a good one. It's about a trans superhero. I really like that one. It's not Marvel or DC, which is fun, but it also is sad because it means we're not going to get more of her. It's about this superhero named Chalice. I very much like it. Disney has comics. Oh yeah, Disney's doing like Marvel crossovers with their characters now. I've been reading Angela comics before. Like if there is like a trans superhero in a comic, I usually try and read it. Like the Angela comics has Angela's girlfriend, Sarah, right? And Sarah is trans. Alters has Chalice, who is trans. The Dreamer comics obviously have Dreamer, who is trans. Which is also why I'm watching that's why I'm watching Supergirl and The Flash at the minute. Well, Flash I actually just wanted to watch, but Supergirl I'm watching it because like Dreamer shows up in it later, and I'm very excited for that. But I'm making my way through it slowly. Oh yeah, there's a Dead by Daylight comic. I forgot about that one. There's even a COD Zombies comic, which I read. Bunch of Doctor Who ones. Galacta, Daughter of Galactus. That one wasn't super interesting, honestly. It was just about her being hungry. Pride Comics. Oh yeah, Pride Comics. Like Marvel and DC both do Pride Comics. Monster High started doing them as now as well, but with Monster High it's much smaller ones, which is a bit sad. And TVA. TVA was a pretty decent one. TVA takes place after Deadpool 3, and it includes characters like Captain Carter, Ghost Spider, who else? Wanda is in it. Sylvie's in it. Yeah. Yeah, Monster High has actually been doing more comics recently. They're also re-releasing some of their older comics, which is pretty cool. Yeah, Monster High is doing Pride comics, and it like all the Monster High comics seem to be set in G1, right? Which, you know, is everyone's favorite. And even though it's sad that we're probably not going to get any more like G1 movies, I am glad they are finally putting LGBT characters in Monster High, because there are so many that was already meant. No, there already that was so meant. There is already so many that were meant to be LGBT, right? Like Nathan Rott was supposed to be gay, and I'm hoping that one might happen in a future Pride comic. And then, like, you know, they did the craziest thing ever and put Claudine and Toralei in a relationship, which, like, yay, finally Claudine's gay, like everyone theorized about for ages. But also, like, why Toralei? Like, I'm not complaining because their relationship is adorable, but also, like, G1 Toralei was such a badly written character. Like, she was just there to cause chaos, to be the antagonist all the time. It's like, I actually really like G3 Toralei a lot better. Because, you know, she's cool and actually has, like, a valid reason for going against everyone else. Yeah. And so, like, if it was G3 Toralei, I could see her getting with, like, G1 Claudine, potentially. But obviously, they're different universes, so that doesn't work. Like, I kind of wish they would sort of just, like, do a proper reboot of the series, but make it good, you know? Like, make it look like G1, right? With the style. Have the accents from G1, but then have the representation from the new comics and from G3, And then maybe take some character ideas from G3, but not all of them. Like, Deuce I kind of prefer from G3 than I do in G1. Toralei I prefer in G3, definitely. A lot of the other characters were fine in G1, you know. G2 we just don't talk about. Yeah. That's my opinion on Monster High, which no one asked for, but you know. I like to give my opinion on some things. Yeah, it's like with the Monster High Pride, with like any of the Pride comics for Monster High, DC, or Marvel, we have to wait like a whole year. And with Marvel and DC, we do at least get a bunch of stories in there, but with Monster High, we only get like 3, which is really sad. I'm trying to look at the comics I sent you the other day, but you can't figure out what you sent. Wait, I can't figure out what you sent me to. What? I'm so confused. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, I read a Sonic Hedgehog comic. Yeah, I read Scrapnik Island. I read a bunch of crossover ones, like the Futurama and the Simpsons, or Superman and Thundercats, or My Little Pony and Transformers, which, yes, that's a real thing. I don't know where to start. Which comics is that? Was that, The Lost Dimension? No, wait, you finished that one. I'll show you later. Okay. Let's see, what other... Let's just make sure that... Oh, ad's starting soon. Great. After the ad, I'll try and stand up again, I guess. Oh, jeez. The lag, it's insane. Oh, wait, were you talking about, EO advert? Yeah, I know. EO advert. Were you talking about the, were you talking about the Empire of the Wolf comics? Because if so, it's top to bottom. And it's the ones I circled. Because that list is just sort of like a read order of all of them. Yeah. Yeah. It's top to bottom, the ones I circled. And that should give you the story in order. I can't find them. Did I not? I'll help you find them later. Yeah, I'll help you find them later. Thanks, no problem. I don't know how much longer I'll be streaming because it's starting to hurt my head. I was willing to take your challenge. You should. No, okay. Oh yeah, Star Wars has some comics as well. The ad's still going. Damn. Where? No, it's not. Well, Twitch is telling me the ad is still going, so I usually just wait till Twitch has told me it's over. Wah. still says 22 seconds. Okay, ad should be over now. Cool. Yeah. So there's also Star Wars comics, and I haven't really read any of those, I don't think. I don't think I've actually read a single Star Wars comic. Have I? Actually, I can go back to the list and look. No, I haven't read a single Star Wars comic. Huh. I should read one at some point. Yeah, there's more Doctor Who. So yeah. I've read, like, quite a few comics. You know, like, ages ago, one of my friends was visiting, and you know, I was showing him some comics, right? And then he saw this like really old Star Wars comic he wanted. So like, the thing didn't even have color. It was just like black and white. It's like, I don't know how bloody old that one was. Yeah, we were looking into comics, and he saw that. Screw off. One of the benefits of being sat down. Again, I know no one sees it, but that was another fucking bot. Let me stand up again. There we go. Whew. I'll probably go for like another 18-20 minutes. Yeah, like, I know it's short right now. Like, I'm only doing 2-hour VR chat streams, but I do hope to increase that eventually once my body starts being more okay to do this and stand up for more hours on end. Once it's more stable as well, and I don't have to worry about the PC freaking out. Because also, another thing is using the Quest. If it's plugged into the PC, I only get about 4 hours anyway before it needs to recharge. So, yeah. After the stream, I'll probably plug it into the wall to charge it better. Because otherwise, I'm waiting like hours for it to charge. Like, so many hours if I plug it into the PC. It's so slow. Which is why, you know, I can only go 4 hours, because I guess that's about the lifespan of the headset. Yeah, as all of that improves, I will stream VR chat longer. But for now, like, 2-hour streams are not the worst. You know, so it gives people a chance to come in, have a chat, you know. I ramble about some random shit, and then people move on with their day. Yeah, honestly, like, that friend I was talking about, I was a little surprised that they were into comics, but I was very surprised when they picked a really old Star Wars comic they wanted to read. So, yeah. I did help them find it, though. So that was good. I'm good at finding things. I don't know if he's gone on to read any other comics, but yeah. I'll have to ask him. Maybe I'll message him later, be like, hey, how's comics going? I don't know. Yeah, like I said, if you want to get into comics, definitely be cautious of where you tread. Because, like, some stories that you'll find are neatly wrapped up easily, right? Like, the My Little Pony Transformers crossover exists in, like, 2 comic series that are both called My Little Pony Transformers. Well, Transformers My Little Pony, I don't remember. Or like Superman and Thundercats, that's one comic story. So like that's probably the best place to start, honestly, is crossover comics like that you wouldn't expect. Because not only is it interesting to see some of your favorite characters come together, but also those stories are usually start and end in that comic. So it's like a neatly wrapped up story compared to the story that has years of history. You know? It's like the difference between watching the entire MCU and watching Pixels, you know? Like, Pixels is one movie, you watch it, you're done. You know? But in order to understand it, you do kind of need to know the characters. So, you know, there's that. But then, you know, watching the MCU is a big mess. And you have to figure out where to start, you have to figure out the order. And it's just years of history. There's a pizza over there. I turned the wrong way. There's a pizza over there. That's crazy. Look at the pizza. It's funny, in order to look like I'm pointing at the pizza, I have to not point at the pizza. Because I'm pointing at it from my eye line. I have to be pointing at it from your eye line. Which, to me, is pointing over at the Steven Universe poster. But, oh, my back. My back. My body thinks it's 80. Also, this world plays like random memes on like giant boards. And like there's this one of Dracula from Hotel Transylvania, and it's just saying, "Haha, Jonathan." I don't know what it's about. It's very strange. You know, I haven't actually seen all the Hotel Transylvania movies. I think I've seen like the first 2. I don't remember. I think it was like the first 2. Is the third one when they're on the yacht? I don't remember. Because I haven't seen the one where they're on the yacht, but I've seen the ones before it. Or the cruise ship, or whatever. Same thing. I know technically cruise ship's way bigger, but who cares? They're both massive, expensive boats. I love when I just like look back at the camera and I just see my tail swoosh away. It means my tail's doing something. You see? It feels so alive. I love it. Like, I just spin around. It actually feels like it's a flowy tail. Didn't I call a yacht small the other day? Yes, you did. You said a yacht was small. I was like, what? Yachts are not small. Because I think I was like, oh yeah, take a small boat. And you were like a yacht? It's like, what? Small boat means like a speed boat or something. Or a fucking rubber dinghy. Like a raft. That's a small boat. Or a small sailboat. That's a small boat. Don't really count them as boats. What, a raft? Yeah, that makes sense. That's not really a boat, it's a raft. But you know, like a small sailboat or a small speedboat, those are boats. Small boats. A yacht is a big boat. In fact, I even believe it might be called a ship. And you have cruise ships, which are even bigger. Which is like, why do cruise ships exist? Small, puny, Tony, what? Oh, tiny. Small ships. Not me just writing a fucking fun song about wanting a pirate ship in my head as I'm stood here just bouncing about. I want a pirate ship to sail on the sea. I don't know how the next part would go, but That's one I should add to the list of creative ideas. Oh shit! Yeah, I have all my creative ideas on that little USB stick on the desk. So basically, I have a creativity folder, right, filled with all of my projects that I call creative. So like any songs I've started writing, any stories I've started writing, like the world I started making, any artwork I try to do. Any creative project gets put in this one big folder, and it's very organized, right? Any characters I make, they're all in there. There's tons of different sections of that folder. That folder is 20 gigabytes. Basically, I wanted to move it onto a USB stick from my laptop, because my laptop's been a bit shit to the point where I can barely use it. Right. Even if I try and watch YouTube, it will lag every time. Right? I can't even watch YouTube on it anymore, which is like the main thing I was doing. So I can't really use my laptop. So what I thought I would do is I would move copy the entire creativity folder onto a USB stick, so that I can have a backup copy on the PC, right? To move it to the USB stick, it took multiple days to move 20 gigabytes from my laptop to a USB stick. Multiple days. I'm really hoping it doesn't take that long to move it to the PC, because the PC is more prone to problems. But if it's quick, I'll be able to move my creativity folder to the PC. Because what I like to do whenever I'm feeling creative, I'll look through my creativity folder, see what I've already made, and it gives me inspiration to go and try and make something new. Because even though most of my creative projects are unfinished, they reach a point where I need a lot of motivation to push past that next objective. Like, I have a song I was writing about my depression. I've got all the lyrics. The entire lyrics are done, right? I've done all the lyrics. So now it comes time to writing the music. And I've hit a roadblock. Because I don't feel confident enough to actually write the music, right? Because my music lessons in school didn't really help much with writing music. It was more just playing existing music, which sucks. So yeah, I struggle writing music, especially because I will start playing something, I'll press a note, and I'll be like, wait a second, that note sounds familiar. And then I'll proceed to trial and error figuring out how to play an entire song. Like, at some point, ages and ages ago, when I was playing the keyboard, right, I pressed a key, and I was like, that sounds familiar. I then proceeded to spend probably like half an hour figuring out how to play the beginning of the Sunleaf Waterscape from Final Fantasy. And I did manage to succeed, by the way, and it's happened multiple times. With just random songs. I just accidentally figure them out. And so I don't want to do that when I'm writing music. And I'm not very good at writing music. Because I'll make something, it sounds good, I'll listen to it to a month later, and it sounds like shit. Which means it sounded like shit the entire time. I was a bit blinded by the fact I had made it. And that sucks. And it's not just me being too harsh on myself, it's me just like... It's actually the opposite. It's me not being critical enough about it when I initially make it. So then I end up making something that sounds like arse. And so because of that, and my extreme lack of motivation due to depression and other things, I just have never written the music for Calm My Depression, which is my depression song. And other songs haven't even had their lyrics finished yet. I've gotten quite a few lyrics to a bunch of them, like a song called Let It All Burn. That one is my anger song, and I've got quite a few lyrics to that if I remember correctly, but, you know, lag. But yeah, the lyrics are unfinished. Yeah. Also, even if I did write the music for it, like, I don't have a singing voice. So... yeah. Maybe I'll get Nat to sing them. Who knows? She can be the singer. Like, I write the lyrics, we both make the music, and she sings the lyrics. That could work. You know, we'd put in like 50-50 each, because I can't do this on my own. Yeah, that's some of the projects though. That's just music is some of the projects. Like, I've also got the most complete projects in there. Well, I say complete. Technically, they can be added to and into like the stratosphere, but characters are a pretty fun one, because with that there is nothing to complete. It's more just, here's a character, I can use them in anything I want. And that's basically just, I have fun with Hero Forge and make a ton of characters. I have way too many. Most of them I have intended them to be used for D&D, but since I haven't played D&D in a few years, and you know, I didn't even play it that much, I believe I only actually ever used like 2 characters out of the probably like 50 that I have. And I have so many cool ones, you know? Like, I have this like elf femboy. You know, that's one character. I have like this this Minotaur blacksmith, I think. I have a dwarven trans woman who is also a blacksmith, I think, and she's known as like the best blacksmith in like place. I have Twin Tail Tilly, the captain. She's like a cat person with 2 tails. She was born with 2 tails. I thought it was a cool detail, so call her Twin Tail Tilly. She has like an entire crew and a ship that I've designed. The ship, I think I used Sea of Thieves to like design parts of the ship, you know? And it's more like I'm just using that for concept, so I can then later make the ship myself. And like, I do have some characters which I have used because they were first in stories. Like, I have a character called Kate, who is part of one of the stories I'm writing called Dimensional Rift, which I love the idea of that story. I really want it to be made into an animation someday, but I've got to finish writing it first. Yeah, Dimensional Rift would look so sick as an animation, especially because like you've got this girl on an electric guitar who's playing this sick like solo riff, right? And it causes portals to open around her as she sends out blasts of energy from her guitar and, you know, strums really hard on the guitar, causing giant spikes of the field to stab up to stop a big wall that was being sent towards her. Like, that's just some of the shit that happens in Dimensional Rift. It's so cool. And I really, really want an animation of it. But not only do I need to learn how to animate, which means I need to learn how to draw, I also need to learn how to play guitar. It's a really good story. I know, I love it so much. But yeah, if I learned how to play guitar, I could literally play the Dimensional Riff. I could write and play the Dimensional Riff used in the story. And yeah. I would also actually have to learn how to play other instruments, like a guitar and drums, you know? But I feel like I could make it work. It's like, I love my creative projects, and I really want to get them done, but like my mental state and my like situation that I exist in is not great for me to finish any of my projects. But like, looking at my projects helps a little bit with my motivation, which is why I wanted to move them to the PC so I can actually see them. I would probably have any new projects I make in a different folder for now until I put everything back to my laptop once I get that fixed. Or until I get a better computer, like one for myself. Because really I'm just like borrowing Nats. And yeah. That's what I stream on. It's what I play games on because, you know, she's at work a lot of the time. And she also has, like, her laptop working now as well. So now I need my laptop working and I need my own damn computer at some point. Yeah, it was my choice for this to be Nat's computer. Because she deserves it, you know? But also I'm borrowing it a whole bunch. Until I get my own. But she doesn't mind, thankfully. Yeah, once I'm able to see my projects again, I'm sure it's going to motivate me. Because, like, I see what I can do, you know? I see this idea, and I'm like, I want this to be finished. You told me I could have it. Yeah, I know you did. But it's yours. I'm saying it's yours. She keeps trying to, like, say, like, no, 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 you have it. It's been so long. It's probably been, like, 2 years at this point. It's the family computer, and it's your computer, and I borrow it. Yeah, I really, like, whenever I see my projects, I want them to
Let's motivate her with a controlled shock.
Yeah, whenever I see my projects, I love them so much that I want to continue them. Even when I don't have motivation, sometimes it just makes me happy to just sit there, scrolling through them, or reading through my stories, reading through my lyrics, like, just reading through my ideas in general, which I have all written in there as well. Even if I haven't made something yet, I've made it into an idea, and that's what I build everything off of. So, like, and my advice for you, even if you have no motivation, even if you have no means of making something, if you have an idea, write it down anywhere. Just anywhere that you can access it later. Because some of my best ideas have come to me when I'm trying to sleep, when I'm in the shower, when I'm on the bus. Like, my best ideas happen at random. And so, like, what I used to do is I have my own, like, private Discord server, right? And I would write down the idea in, like, one channel, right? And I would put idea, colon. So then, because I store a bunch of things on that channel as well, so then I could just write in the search bar, idea, and then I could find all of my ideas I've ever had that I thought were good, that I want to make. And sometimes I had ended up combining those ideas, right? Like, I combined, like, two or three ideas for a horror game that I want to make. One of the ideas I had written down was about this game that had a really cool idea. So from what I remember of it, right, it was this idea of there were a bunch of kingdoms, they were all at war. There was this one kingdom that didn't take part in the war, and then all the other kingdoms ended up killing each other, leaving just the well, actually, I don't know if it was all the armies ended up killing each other. I think it might have also been that the physical embodiment of war comes along and wipes out all of the kingdoms that were fighting in the war, just leaving the one singular kingdom standing, right? That didn't take part. And then it was going to be, you're a warrior from that kingdom that didn't take place in the war, and you get sent out to stop these new creatures that have been brought about as, like, they're like these new creatures that the embodiment of war is using as like puppets to send out and things. And your goal is to go around to the kingdoms, find that their greatest warrior, which they have, like, basically turned into a statue temporarily until they get freed, to be like, okay, this is our greatest warrior, you know, like, the entire kingdom's about to be destroyed. Save our greatest warrior so that he can fight on and, you know, help anyone in the future. And so you have to go around and, you know, recruit all of those warriors, eventually taking down the physical embodiment of war, right? There was more to it, but that was the basic idea. I saw that idea written on Discord from me, like, a few years ago. Not from now, a few years ago from when I read it. And I was like, that is an amazing idea. But then I thought, okay, if we've got a physical embodiment of war, what if it wasn't just a game, but it was a franchise of 4 games, right? And each game would play differently. But by the end of that game, you take on the physical manifestation of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right? And so, like, the second one, I think, was famine, right? Because of the devastation that happened from the war and, war then, trampling all the ground, it's very hard to grow crops. You don't have many crops, and nothing's growing, right? So you have to go out and find, like, special, I think it was, like, special seeds. Okay, that was fucking creepy. Why did my headset just put eyes in front of me? That was so fucking creepy. Are they watching me? I'm concerned. But yeah, the idea was you then go around and you have to find these seeds through different levels, and you have to plant them because these are the only seeds that can still grow, and the whole point is famine is attacking and we're always watching. Yeah, famine's like causing a famine, and then you have to grow these special crops that will still grow so you can feed everyone. And then by the end of it, you take on famine itself, and you have to use the crops that you've been growing to, force feed famine until famine pops. And then, like, I forget what the one after that was, what the third one was, but I know the fourth game in this Horsemen of the Apocalypse game franchise that I've come up with, the final one was death, right? And my amazing idea for that one, I'm fine sharing these because, like, if someone steals it, it at least gets made. Please don't steal my ideas, though. Like, I'm so proud of these. But yeah, like, worst case scenario, it gets made, probably better than I can do it anyway. But yeah, the fourth game was basically you have to fight the physical embodiment of death, right? And I think by that point, the kingdoms had sort of, like, rebuilt, or the single kingdom that was standing has expanded out, or something like that. And then you actually have a timer in the top corner. And you have to beat the game before that timer runs out. But you can't just wait until it's, like, 1 second, because that timer isn't just a timer. That timer is actually a countdown of how many people are alive. And so every second, a person in the kingdom dies, right? And then, so yeah, you have to, like, get through all these levels and then eventually face death itself, which has also absorbed the other horsemen. Since you've killed them, death takes in the other 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Well, I guess the other 3, because it's the 4th one. But yeah, it absorbs them into itself to become even more powerful. But yeah, so the quicker you beat the game, it would be the more people you save, And I thought that was a really cool idea. And yeah, like I said, I don't remember what the 3rd Horseman game was. But again, it's all on that hard drive, but I can't look at it right now. I actually might have talked about the Horseman series before on stream. But if I have, you can find it below on the VODs channel in a playlist. But there's quite a few hours of VR chat content. So good luck finding it. I'm gonna sit back down again. Ooh. Yeah, there's so many other ideas I've had that I'm proud of, Also, if I go back to the songs I was writing for a second, so when the reason I started deciding to write songs, right, was because one of my favorite things to do creatively sometimes is image editing. It depends on my mood, but I really like image editing, right? Or like compiling images together to make a new image. Think like Photoshop, except I use some like free knockoff that I found, which is really useful actually. But basically, I like doing that, and then at some point I decided, you know what, I could make like a, like a album cover type image, right? A lot of your ideas are really good. Thank you. Yeah, I was just making like images one day because I was bored, and then I made um something that looked like an album cover you would see. So what I decided to do was I continued making them, right? Like I made one I made them for multiple songs, and some of these songs will never get made, right? Like I have some album cover images that are probably not gonna get made into songs. Like I think one is called "A Sacrifice for Him," and it's got like it's basically just like an edited picture of a Molag Bal forge from Elder Scrolls. I think I had another one called "Gaming on Life" or something, which was a picture of an arcade machine in the Pizzaplex. And yeah, I had edited it and stuff. Those ones will probably not get made into songs, but other ones will. Like I said, the "Calm My Depression," that one has got the lyrics written for it, and like I don't remember the lyrics entirely, but they're good. And basically, I started writing that when I was actually depressed. Like the depression gave me motivation to write a song about my depression. And now I just need to get to the second half of that, you know? And then yeah, like another song that I was writing was called "Let It All Burn." And that one, when I had made the album cover looking image for it, I unintentionally made it like red, orange, and yellow as like the color scheme going top to bottom. And then I realized, hold on, that's actually I don't think the other one was called "Gaming on Life." I think it was something else. Because you'll hear why I think that it was something else in a minute. I just don't remember what it was called. It might have been called like "Life is a Game" or something. But yeah, point is, I saw that it was red, orange, yellow on "Let It All Burn," and so then I was like looking at it. I was like, hold on, this looks like the top of a pride flag, like the rainbow flag. So then I purposefully made another one that was that had green, blue, purple. And so I was sat there for a little while thinking about like, okay, how am I gonna do this? And then I thought, oh, I could do a hopeful song, right? Because I did green grass with a blue sky that fades to purple to be like space at the top, or it was like purple clouds or something. I don't remember. Point is, it looks good. And then I did that, and that was for a song called "Wishing on Life." And yeah, so now a little Easter egg is if you put "Let It All Burn" and "Wishing on Life" as like if you put them together foot to foot, you get a rainbow flag, which I think was pretty cool. Like the songs aren't related to, like, they aren't really related to anything gay in particular. It's just I noticed that, so I made it into an Easter egg. So yeah, like I'm hoping by the next VR chat stream, when I sit and talk like this for a while, I'm hoping I will have had like a refresh on what all of my ideas were, because I'm like the second I get them on the computer, I am going through all of them, all of my ideas, all my creative projects. Actually, I said my most complete ideas were my most complete projects were characters. I lied. My most complete projects are mostly the graffiti that I've been doing. Well, was doing. I haven't done it in ages. But yeah, I have a bunch of pictures of like graffiti I've done and stuff. One of those pictures is actually one I did on stream. If you look through my VOD's channel, you'll find a stream of me painting people's requests. That was a fun stream. It was like a bit awkward to stream, but I got it working. And so yeah, like obviously a lot of those creative projects are obviously done because like I do them all in one session. They're not great by any means. I think my best one is Toxic. I did this one piece that just said toxic and it was green and dripping and it had like this gas cloud behind it. Like, it's not amazing by any means. Like, if I was a much better artist, I would definitely make the, like, you know, the gross smoke in the background look like actual smoke. I'm not that talented, so it's basically just like a big green blob, but it still looks phenomenal, in my opinion. Yeah. I don't think I've posted them since moving to Blue Sky, but if you can probably find them. I posted them ages ago on Twitter when I actually made them. Honestly, a lot of my creative projects that I've made, or started making at least, I've actually put on Twitter ages ago when I made them. This was like obviously before I moved to Blue Sky permanently. But now I post any creative ideas I'm working on to Blue Sky if I want to. But I also have a channel in the Discord, which you can find below, which actually is just going to be where I post any creative projects I'm working on. There's not much in there right now, but yeah, it's just sort of a place because I like sharing when I'm actually like doing good and making things. So yeah, when I am feeling good, you'll know because you'll start seeing me posting about creative projects. That's how you know everything's going okay. But that hasn't happened in a long time. Oh damn, it's dark outside. Oh, that's so strange. I haven't had that happen in so long. Where I've like gone in VR when it's like bright outside and then I look outside a bit later and it's dark. Yeah. Trying to think. Yeah, I think the last creative project I posted about was a map of the Kingdom collectives in Mirian. If you don't know, Mirian is the world I'm making. I think I called it Mirian in the end. Yeah, because I went through a potential name of Myron, but like I wasn't liking it because every time I looked at it, I just thought Myron. I'm just like, no. It just reminds me of Ronald Weasley. I don't want that. So I went with Mirian, I believe, in the end. I've got like that's like an entire world I'm building. Like filled with lore and creatures, and it's basically inspired by like Elder Scrolls. I'm glad you didn't pick that name. Yeah, me too. Yeah, there's like plenty of creatures like the Blanto, the Tapamok, um, the Mevo. Funny thing is, some of the creature names are actually anagrams of like something that inspired them, which I find kind of funny. Yeah, not all of them are though. Yeah, I've also got like various maps that I've made, and like one of them looks so incredible. Like I've made one of the maps look like it's essentially made up of a bunch of small bits of paper, because how the map was first created was the Explorers Guild collectively went out to different areas of the world, right? They took paper with them and they traced around the edges of the islands and stuff. And so they each took different areas of the world. And then eventually, once they had all mapped out that area, they came back, pieced together the map based on overlaps and stuff, and created the first map of Mirian. And the way I've made it is actually so cool because you can see in each of the individual pieces of paper that the Explorers Guild used when they were separated and went out exploring. And then, those papers are a bit crinkly because they've been traveling, and yeah, it's also the inside the lines is like stained so that they can tell this is what's land, this is what's water. Because that's important. And then also it looks like it's on a table in a dark room with a lamp shining on it from above. And like, obviously it's like a direct, like, okay, we're looking at this, and it's like you're looking at it head on, like as if you were the lamp, essentially. But it looks so cool. And it didn't always look that cool. I actually updated it a few times, which is very interesting. Like at first I had it so it was separated into the different pages and had it stained on the inside and had it on a table, right? But then I added the crinkles and then I added the lights. And there was like a couple updates at least. I also have like a more modern map of the world, which I can just use mostly for myself to plan things out, because it's the kind of map where I could look at it and see it more like a modern map, where you see the green and then the blue and yeah. And then eventually that map's going to be used for the terrain map. Well, not terrain map. I mean, it's going to be used as reference when making the like height map and then the biome map. Yeah. And something that is used for a bit more recently, like I said, the last creative project I posted about was this map of the territories of the kingdom collectives. So there are like a small handful of these kingdom collectives, right? And they are made up of multiple kingdoms. Each of those kingdoms will obviously have like a ruler, someone in charge. And then those kingdoms come together. They send their ruler to, talk in the kingdom collective. And then they'll have one ruler that they designate by vote to go and represent the kingdom collective if they ever have a meeting between the kingdom collectives, right? Just to avoid conflict. It's like the one and one person, but there'll be guards from both sides or something like that. It's not entirely planned yet. Yeah, it's essentially a way to start splitting up the world. Eventually I have to go through and, split the kingdom collectives into their individual kingdoms. But think of it like, Tamriel has Cyrodiil, it has Skyrim, it has elsewhere, right? But then in Skyrim, you have Whiterun, and then Solitude, and then Windhelm. So it's kind of like that, you know? Except I'm hoping for my world to maybe be a bit bigger than Tamriel is, at least in the games. Because I don't know how big Tamriel is supposed to be, but in the games, it's like a bit small. And I want my world to be much bigger than that. So we'll see. Like, getting scale right when doing maps is so difficult. Because it's like, if you do the scale wrong on something, and then you base everything off of that, then all of a sudden everything's too big. You know? But I don't want to add like 1 pixel and say that's a town, because then the world is going to be massive. So what I've kind of done is, it might not be the final size, but for an idea of the actual size, I've created like one version of the map that has like a bunch of lines at the bottom. I think each line is like 40 miles or something. And then I've got like a shadow of the UK over the map, just to like, so I can see how big that is. And like, I've set the UK shadow to scale, so I can have an idea about how big that is. And then when I try making something that needs scale, I will try using that as reference. But if it feels too big or too small, I will adjust accordingly and then make a new scale map. And yeah, honestly, Mirian is my biggest creative project, but it's also the one I've got the most work on. Because the thing is, the amount of work I can do on a project isn't dependent on how much work I can do in general. It's actually dependent on how much of a percentage I can do. Because there's a certain percentage I'm able to do with any project. And then once I hit that, I start having difficulties or I stop altogether. Like, in the case of songs, it's more like I can get the lyrics done and then I stop. And that's like one part of it, right? But then with Mirian, I'm able to create creatures, and then I'm able to create maps. And that's because, like, each of these in Mirian is like its own mini project. Like, the maps are their own separate projects. The creatures are their own separate projects, but it all comes together to make one big project at the end. And so the main difficulty of creating Mirian is, once I start getting to the point where I need actual artwork of like the creatures or something, or I need like a model of the creatures, that's when it's going to start getting difficult. Or if I need like biome maps, for example, or height maps, I'm struggling to do that bit. So I'm able to do like parts of each section of Mirian. But also with the whole looking at it as a bunch of individual projects that come together, that's kind of how I ended up doing my Minecraft city. If you've been watching my Minecraft streams at all, which again you can find below, they're in a neat playlist. But in order to build that city, I didn't look at it as, I'm building a city, I'm going to make it this massive and giant, because otherwise I would have started planning out all the buildings and try and build them all at once and getting overwhelmed. Instead, what I did was I started with 5 houses. Just 5 houses that were all the same, not even decorated inside. And I put a road in front of them. That's how I started. I then slowly expanded it. I added a shop, and then a park, and then some more shops. And as I expanded, I moved the roads. I kept expanding the road as I added new buildings. And then eventually we get the abandoned church, and then we get the police station, and then we get the post office, And then eventually, we build in it for so long that we start reaching really far out, like the zoo and the hospital, and like those are the 2 furthest points in those 2 directions, right? Like the zoo is the furthest in like this direction, the hospital is the furthest in that direction. And yeah, they're quite far away from where the starting point was. And also, these buildings are much, much bigger. Like, look at the stadium. That thing is massive and is covered in lights. Like, the zoo is humongous, but also that itself is split into smaller jobs. The hospital is going to be massive. The parking lot's pretty big. The cinema was really big, which, fun little Easter egg in the cinema. I actually built a screenshot from the Minecraft movie trailer, which was, Steve saying, "I am Steve." Yeah, I built that scene as best as I could. It doesn't look great because, the background is a bit detailed for what you can build on, like, a small grid of pixels. But, I feel like I did pretty decent. I don't know if you can hear that at all. That was very rude. I forgot to close the window. Whoopsie. Hopefully there hasn't been too much background noise throughout. But yeah, also the mall is a big building. Except that one, again, is split into smaller sections. No background noise at all. Okay. So yeah, if you ever want to start a really big project, don't ever look at it as, I want to start a big project. Look at it as, here's an idea for a big project, like a Minecraft city, like a world. And then you take that and you break it down into its different components. So like for building a world, break it down into the creatures, the maps, the people, the cultures, the religions, like break it down into these different sections. Like for a Minecraft city, right? Break it down into streets, break it down into individual buildings, and you will have a much easier time. That's how I see writing sometimes. Yeah, even writing. That is a big project in itself. The way I look at it is I break it down into, first step, I think of the overall story, right? What's the beginning, middle, and end? And then what I'll do is I'll have that beginning, middle, and end in my mind, and then I'll go through and just write it out on like a text document or Word or whatever. And basically, I'll just write whatever I feel like works, and then as I'm writing, I obviously have the next plot point in mind, whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end. And then I write towards that, and then have it happen, and then write towards the next bit. And eventually I end up with, like a big page or multiple pages of, like, what seems like a short story. And you can end it there. Or if you want, you can then take the next step, and then you go through the story and either refine it or add some fluff to bulk it up, Yeah, that's what I do for, like, my stories. Obviously, my stories are still in the writing the main story part of it yet. But yeah, it's basically you just start with something simple, write out your beginning, middle, and end, and then you expand it. And then you expand it. You start out small, and it gets bigger. Break any project you have down. Even if it's a small project, you can break it down into steps. If you want to make a model, for example, you can break it down into make a simple version of the model, then add detail, then texture it. And then obviously if it's like a character model, rig it afterwards, or rig it and then texture it. I'd recommend maybe texturing it first and then rigging it, just in case you end up rigging it in a way that stretches textures awkwardly. So yeah, any project you have can be broken down into smaller parts to make it much less overwhelming. And because some projects, if you look at it, can be daunting, it can be overwhelming, and then you're like, I'm not going to start this because I could never finish it. Don't think about that. think about, how am I going to start it? If you don't finish it for ages, that's fine. You can always go back to it, like whenever you feel ready. But start that project. Split it into sections. Pick one section to start on and start it. Even if it's something as simple as, like, just a small idea. Like, a simple what if question. Apologies, my throat's playing with me. Like, even if your simple idea and your base idea is, what if this happened? What if this, but with this? You know? Do you follow this advice? I do, actually. It's just I've lacked the motivation. It's not that my ideas are too daunting. It's that, I break down my ideas into sections. I do the sections I can do, and then I get to the sections I can't do, and I'm like, shit, what do I do here? So I do follow my own advice. Also, advice I believe is spelled with a C. Yeah, your idea could literally, like, look at the Marvel What If series. Either the either the show or the comics, right? Take that advice. If you don't have any ideas, but you want to do something creative, just start out with something like that. If you think, oh, I could never think of a story, I could never think of an idea to be creative with, look at What If and ask the question. So it could be as simple as, like, writing, like, okay, I know this doesn't look good for my advice, but my mind's blanking because I don't want to do an idea that's already been done. But you can do an idea that's already done, and you can do it differently. I just have too much pride, and sometimes, I try and think of unique things because I just have a lot of pride. Well, like, you could do something simple, like, what if a hedgehog learned to fly? Right? And, damn it, add in progress. Are you serious? Bad timing. Screw you. Autocorrect, yeah, that sucks. No, I'm gonna forget what I was gonna say. Well, you are gay, so no wonder you have a lot of pride. Hey! I hate these fucking ads. If I'd seen it, I would have snoozed it. I don't know what I'm doing. Come on, be over ad. Sorry if you're watching this on YouTube, just skip, like, another minute. I'm gonna get up while the ad's playing this time. Come on, menu. What was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, flying hedgehog. Alright, the ads should be over soon. Hopefully I don't get copyright claimed for humming literally a tune out of my head that is not even from anything. Oh wait, everyone should be back from ads now. So, as I was saying, if you are worried about projects, even if you think breaking down a big project will be too much, what you can do, start with a small project. Start with like a children's book, right? That's a very small project. All you really need is, like, you can ignore the art part of it if you just want to practice making something. Or do the art part of it if you want, you know. If you want to do art, that's obviously still an option. But yeah, if also this idea is mostly for, starting with kids books is mostly for if you want to do writing or drawing, but it gives me an opportunity to explain how you can come up with a good idea. And this idea can be turned into anything, but this one in particular would work more for a kids book, which is why I mentioned. So if you want to come up with an idea and you have no idea how to come up with an idea, what you can do is start by asking yourself, what if? As I was trying to explain earlier before the ad so rudely interrupted me. Like, a lot of stories can be boiled down to what if. Like, Sonic the Hedgehog. What if a hedgehog was fast? Super Mario. What if the princess was kidnapped? You know, like, anything you see can really be boiled down to what if, and that can spawn into a whole idea. So you could start with, what if a hedgehog wanted to learn how to fly? And that could be a children's book right there on its own, without any need for expansion. But then you could ask yourself, okay, what happens? Like, what if a hedgehog wanted to fly? And then you can start thinking what would happen if a hedgehog wanted to fly. And then maybe as you're starting to explore that idea, you might come up with another idea to expand upon it. It's like, okay, this hedgehog wants to fly, and oh, it finds a glider, right? And then, like, all of a sudden, you have a game where a hedgehog is gliding, and you've got to glide through obstacles. Immediate idea. Or you have a children's book about a hedgehog who finds a glider. And you can always start small and make it bigger, because you can always add to an idea. You can even take away from an idea if you don't like something. So try it. Just try different things. You know, like, okay, this hedgehog that wants to fly ends up seeing meteorites in the sky. That might not work. And so if you add that, you can then come and remove it later. Or maybe you find a way to make it work, right? Like, as the hedgehog's gliding, all of a sudden there's a meteorite strike and it, like, you know, gets hit. The glider gets hit. You have to, like, in the game, you could try and fix the glider. You could, you know, something like that. I don't know. Point is, you can expand the idea. And any idea can be started from just the question, what if? It's a really good way to get yourself started if you want to be creative. Or another option is just combine two random things. Like, I mean, even a hedgehog flying is combining two things, you know? Which is why asking yourself, what if, works. But it could also work with just one thing, you know? Like, even songs you can do a what if, you know? It's like, what if a depression song was epic, you know? Like, there you go. You've got immediately how the song will sound. You've got what the song will be about, you know? It even works for artwork. Like, what if what if a unicorn made a kebab on its horn. You can draw that. Just draw a unicorn head. And draw like a bunch of like bits of meat or whatever else you have on a kebab on its horn. I don't actually know what goes on a kebab. I think tomatoes or peppers or something. Maybe not tomatoes. Do tomatoes go on kebabs? I genuinely don't know. I don't have kebabs. I don't eat them. So yeah, any idea you have at all can be turned into something if you start small and expand it. And even if you can't come up with that idea, you can come up with an idea. Just pick something. If you're sat there thinking, what if, and then you can't think of anything else, just pick something. Even if it doesn't work, it still lets you explore that possibility. It's still an idea. Peppers mostly, but just peppers and meat. Okay, but yeah, just like, what if sofas were alive? And you just pick something. That could be the worst story ever, or it could be an amazing game about like mimics or something. You know? We used to do pineapple sometimes. Interesting. So yeah, anyone can come up with an idea. Anyone can be creative. Like, having the skill is the difficult part sometimes. Like, I have cool ideas for songs and artwork. I'm struggling to create them because I'm not great at music and artwork. And trying to learn them is difficult for me because I have a lot going on. Like, a lot of mental health issues. I have a lack of motivation as well. And yeah. So like, I think it's my ADHD that's like stopping me partially. And depression. It's ADHD and depression, because the ADHD makes it so that like I can't sit there retrying something over and over again to learn it, right? Because I get distracted or bored or annoyed quite easily about it. And then my depression just saps all my energy and motivation away at just random times. It's not fun. But occasionally I'll feel good. I'll feel motivated. Hasn't happened much recently, but you know, in the past when I was making creative projects, I would have a moment of feeling amazing, and then I would go and create something. That's how a bunch of my stories started out. It's like Dimensional Riff. That idea literally started from, what if there were hills that responded to music? You know? Or like, what is if there were like fields that responded to music? And my idea for that was like, okay, if there's music playing, like the ground moves up and down, in either waves or in blocks, and it would just look cool, maybe even spikes. And then I took that idea and was like, okay, I expand upon it. I make it so that in these fields in particular, people host music fights, right? They use the ground and energy blasts just to give it a bit more variety. And the energy blasts come from their musical instruments. And they have like these music fights where they have to try and destroy their opponent's instrument. And then, I expand that again. I'm like, okay, so not only is it the story going to be about this tournament, it's going to be about this one player in particular that's, is trying to work her way through this tournament. Sort of like Ash trying to win the Pokemon League or whatever, And she's like the underdog, no one's ever heard of her. And you have all of these like famous instruments that she's coming across, like Rolling Thunder or the Key to Heaven, And yeah, and she's got her guitar, Raging Riots. And also, I did incorporate a separate idea that I had written down, which was just the word Dimensional Riff, because I love the pun. Because it's like Dimensional Rift, which, is like a split in like space-time or something. But then it's a riff, like on a guitar. And so that combined with the musical fields, those fused together, and I expanded upon it to write Dimensional Riff. which is another reason to write down. That's the reason to write down all of your ideas, even if it's not a full idea. Just I wrote down the words dimensional riff because I came up with that, and eventually that combined with another idea that I had made to create a whole new story. Yeah. Because, like, I give advice about this based on what I've done and what has worked for me. And honestly, obviously this won't work for everyone else, you know? But I've tried explaining how my ideas can work and how you can simplify it if you want to go that route. Obviously, if you are like amazing at artwork and you have so many ideas, just go for it, really. Like, but like my advice here is more for people who are struggling to get themselves to make things. Like, they want to be creative, but they either don't have the ideas, or they just don't know how to execute those ideas, or it's too daunting. But yeah, if you're able to, just go for it. Like, I really hope to someday get my projects finished, because like my songs, I want to upload to YouTube when they're done. My world, I want to write books about that world. I want to make games about that world. My game ideas, I want to finish those so people can play them. I could sell them. My stories, I want to turn into books and animations and all these things. Like I said, Dimensional Rift would make an insane animation. Like, it would be like cartoons you used to watch growing up as kids, you know? Like, I believe Sonic Underground, they use their weapons as instruments, right? Imagine that, but it's a tournament, and the ground moves to the music, and so people learn how to play the right, like, notes and the right pieces of music to move the ground in, like, in the field, right? And it's so cool. And then, you know, my main character in particular has developed this new technique where she can open portals using the dimensional rift. And then she can send, like, energy blasts through them. She can, like, hop through them, be like, phew, phew, as she, like, sends out blasts. But then, obviously, there's also the main attack and defense. The field is mostly used for defense, but can be used as an attack. You know, you can send, like, a wave going through the field. Like, if you wanted to do something like send a spike up to their instrument, you can't just, like, pluck one string and then all of a sudden the spike's gone through their guitar, because that's just, like, that's not how the field works. Like, the sound has to, like, the field moves from you first, where you make the sound, and then it's sort of like, if it's that kind of sound, it will ripple across the field. So if you wanted to spike your opponent's weapon, you would have to, you know, make it so that spike after spike comes out of the ground in like a... Oh. Well. Shoot. I don't know what that said. Oh, I'm lagging heavily and I don't know why. Okay. That was weird. I had a pop-up come up about the headset, and I don't know what it was. Everything's looking okay now? But yeah, point is, like, the spikes would create, like, this wave across the ground. It wouldn't just summon the spike under their guitar. Maybe the battery? It might have been. It might have been. Although, that usually shows up in VR, not on the computer. Yeah, I'm stopping soon anyway, so... Streamed for like an hour longer than I thought I was going to, but yeah, I got distracted talking about, like, you know, being motivational, giving people a good way to start their ideas, or come up with ideas even. Like, there was this one story I read in college, right? And basically, I followed my writing idea, right? Like, you start with the beginning, middle, and end. You just write and try and hit those points. And the story was about this thing called, like, it was like a golden cursed skull, right? And the main planning points was an explorer enters a cave. The explorer comes across an abandoned ship with like a golden skull in it. And then the explorer finds out it's cursed, right? And so I took those three ideas and then read through it. And then obviously it started out, and then I started writing, and then I just thought, okay, if the explorer is walking through this cave, there could be like drawings and warnings on the wall, right? But he's an explorer. He's like a a relic finder. And so he's going through this cave, he sees the warnings, chooses to ignore them, goes in, finds like I think a ship, like a pirate ship, crashed inside this cave. I don't think I thought about how I got there. There might have been another entrance where it like sunk and then got washed up inside the cave or something. I don't know. But point is, then he goes in the cave. The captain sat at the captain's chair, has like this gold skull, and then like he wants to take it, but then also finds out that the reason all this crew is skeletons is because they touched the cursed skull. And then obviously he tries to get out of there. But yeah, that's from like 3 main points. Obviously it was meant to be a short story, so my points were very close together. If it was something longer, it may have been the explorer hears about this ancient artifact. The explorer finds the ancient artifact. It all goes wrong, and the ancient explorer has to escape, And so yeah, it could have been longer. It was meant to be a short story. Yeah, if a beginning, middle, and end doesn't give you a good summary of your story, create a beginning, middle, and end with parts in between the beginning, middle, and the middle and end. So you have like 5 parts to it, like 5 steps if it's a longer story. Like, explorer hears about ancient relic. Explorer researches ancient relic. Researcher finds ancient relic. Ancient relic is cursed and there's danger. Ancient researcher escapes or cures the curse. See, like, there's 5 steps. And then as you're writing, you can hit those steps. And then also, if you want to make a game, that's another thing you can do. Start out by writing a story like that. Once you have a story, like a basic story, you can then plan your game around it. Like I did. Which also, again, this can be explained by a what-if question. For college, I had to write the story of a game that I wanted to make, right? So my story was about there's a robot who races spaceships for a living, ends up getting sucked through like a wormhole kind of thing, and ends up on this fantasy planet. And, the ship crashes and you have to repair it. And I, came up with this whole story. And then from there I decided, okay, it's going to be a racing game, and you have to race all these fantasy creatures in your ship in order to get a part to repair your ship, whether that was an existing part that fell off the ship, or it was something from the fantasy world, like vines to tie things together. And yeah, that was how I came up with that. I think I actually called that Gen Zoom, that game. It only really ended up as a concept demo, really. You're basically just like flying through this box with a bunch of brown cylinders like poking through, which were meant to be trees. But it got me the idea. It's like I just wish I could finish these projects so I could share them. So many of them would be fun to share with people, I could be like, hey, listen to this song I made, or hey, do you want to read my story I wrote? Like, I released a book or something, or released a game, go play it, I could give my friends some, like, Steam keys for my games or something, or demos for my games that are, like, special for them. And we've hit 3 hours. Yeah, like when I do get a game finished eventually, if it's like a game I'm really happy with, I may try and potentially reach out to some content creators to get them to play it. But also I'll obviously play it myself, like on stream. Because that'll just be fun. It'll be interesting to do, you know? Yeah. But again, I have to start finishing some games along with all my other projects. But I would love if I finished a game to like finish making a game, like my horror game, for example, and then like, you know, if I stream the game and then, you know, maybe give out some keys to, give out some like keys or demos to content creators. You know, they could play the game. They could then, I would get some advertisement out of that. But then they get content. I don't know what that noise was. Yeah, it'd be fun. I would like, honestly, if I ever saw content creators playing my game when finished, I would be super fucking ecstatic. I'd be insane. But I gotta get them finished first. Yeah, anyway. I think that's gonna be it for today. I've been streaming for 3 hours, which means the headset might be getting low soon. It's dark outside, my body needs a rest, I need to go chill. So yeah, I hope you all have enjoyed. On Wednesday, I am streaming Splitgate 2, and then on Thursday, I'm doing No Man's Sky, and on Friday, I'm doing Peaks of Yore. The Peaks of Yore stream, I'm just going to take chill. I'm probably not going to make any actual progress on anything, but it'll just be a chill game to play. So yeah, that's what's coming up this week for streams. And yeah, below the stream right now, if you want to look down there, you can find my Twitter, Blue Sky, and Discord, where I post when I'm about to go live. Or in the case of VR chat streams, when I am live. You can also find the VODs channel down there, where you can find all my other VR chat streams in a playlist, or you can find any other streams I've done. Again, they're in neat playlists, but not everything is in a playlist, because not everything fits in one. So yeah, you can find all that down below. And keep an eye on my Twitch schedule to always know when I'm going to be streaming. Yeah. So I think that's it. So I will see you all on Wednesday for Splitgate 2. Bye! I gotta... Hold on. Bye!